on Wuzurike, 6th in the Commonwealth Games in 22. Zarnell Hughes, the silver medalist on that day, man who lives and trains in Kingston, Jamaica, but belongs to Shaftesbury Bonnet Harriers, North London club. James Dadsey of Ghana goes in lane 4, good lane draw for him. 20.3 this year. He's a 1979 form at his best. Chris Taylor goes for Jamaica in 3, 6th in the Olympic Games in Tokyo back in 1991. Curon Griffith of Barbados goes in lane 2. Semi-finalist in the 100 here. Wanye Bell of the British Virgin Islands goes on the inside. World Junior Championship 100 metre performer back in 2022. He was a semi-finalist at the NCAA Championship a few weeks back in Eugene, Oregon, in the USA. On the Nigerian, on Wuzurike, 20.18 this year. Hughes inside him, Zarnell Hughes goes in lane 5. And Hughes is the British record holder with 19.73. That was 3 years ago now. Very consistent, Zarnell Hughes.
Ladies and gentlemen, the men's 200 meters at the 2026 Commonwealth Games just went to another level. The semi-final delivered everything we wanted. Explosive speed, unbelievable finishes, world-class times, and enough drama to make the upcoming final almost impossible to predict. And Jamaica is right in the middle of the action. Christopher Taylor looked composed as he powered his way to victory in his semi-final, while Javel Pearl experienced one of the most closest finishes of the entire competition. Let's watch this combination of races, and then I'll come back with more comment. If you have not subscribed to this channel, please remember to subscribe, like, and stay tuned.
Nice conditions in the arena. Still, of course, a breeze. Should be behind them down the home straight. Now, let's have a look at those reaction times. Can't actually see that anybody broke the rules there. Set off early. Looking at their reaction times, I think maybe that was a faulty start. The camera focusing on Orotile there on the outside. Have a look at it again. Did you spot anything there, Danny?
It does look like Orotile, doesn't it? Just gets the jump on them and on the gun. Very, very fractionally, but we'll wait to see what the officials come back with.
Well, the readout doesn't indicate that he full started, so I don't think he did. He might have got a great start, but that's might be a shame for him if he did get a superb start. He was the quickest away, although the reaction time only tells half the story. Yeah, thought so. Green card, just a faulty start. Nobody having the finger pointed at them. So for the second time of asking then, they have to settle into their blocks very shortly for this first semi-final of 3 in the men's 200 metres. They ran their heats yesterday morning, many of them competing in the 100s on Tuesday evening. They've had 24 hours indeed, more like 30 hours plus to prepare for this. Bell of the British Virgin Islands goes in 1. Griffith of Barbados in 2. Taylor of Jamaica 3. James Dadsey of Ghana in 4. Zarnell Hughes of England in 5. The silver medalist 4 years ago. And Wuzurike of Nigeria in 6. Murphy in 7. Orotile on the outside in 8. This time they get away. Really good running there in lane 4 from James Dadsey. A little slow to get into his running. Zarnell Hughes there in the red and white of England. He's got some work to do here. Also really great from Chris Taylor in lane 3 there for Jamaica. Zarnell Hughes to really pour it on here. He's going to get run right out of this one. Remember, it's only the first 2 who are going through by right. And that is it. First 2 plus 2 non-automatic qualifiers from the 3 semis. And that winning time, 20.20. And I do wonder if fresh legs are counting for a lot here in Scotland today. Well, it's been given to Chris Taylor, 20.20 from lane 3. He started wonderfully. He ran 20.36 for second in his heat yesterday. He's just run 20.20. The win plus 3.5 behind them. It's way over the limit. The other qualifier on Wuzurike of Nigeria. Great run from him, 20.22, really tight at the line. And then Oratile on the outside, the youngster, third with 20.47, and James Dadsey of Ghana, the other man in the non-automatic qualifying positions at the moment with 20.52 in fourth.
Christopher Taylor coming out of lane 3 gets an absolutely blistering start and runs a beautiful bend as he transitions into the home straight. On Wazariki out there in lane 6. Just positions himself beautifully as he comes into the home straight. But Zarnell Hughes was found wanting then. He was just going backwards in the home straight. He just didn't seem to get into the race, did he, Tim? From the moment the gun went, he just couldn't get on the tail of on Wazarike.
No, he got a poor start. Christopher Taylor would have been in his field of vision very quickly because the Jamaican just inside him to his left got away so quickly. Dadsey was quick too. And very Zarnell Hughes like 6th place there, 20.67. He's run almost a second quicker than that. He's run about 8 meters quicker than that, albeit 3 years ago. Well, there's the fellas in the hot seats. Oratile and Dadsey for Botswana and Ghana, respectively. And a confirmation of Chris Taylor's win there with a strong win behind him, 20.22, just ahead of Wazarike from Nigeria.
Scott Lincoln stepping up for round 1 and then shot put. He's the bronze medalist last time out in Birmingham. Big move last year, left his base in York to go to Australia in the quest of consistency and more medals. He's just the shot bounced up towards 21 metres here. Where did it land? Just short, but not too far short of 21 metres. The lead is with Tom Walsh, 21 metres and 3 centimetres, which Walsh himself, 2-time champion, will know he's got to improve on if he wants to get his 3rd consecutive gold. Lincoln, 20 metres 70. That's enough for 2nd place at the moment for the Englishman. Takes us to the 2nd Indian in the field, Rajindapal Singh Tor. The Indian #1 Asian record holder. Could be looking at our 3rd man over 20 metres here in Tor. I love the way these guys rotate so fast, and particularly when it gets faster with every rotation, and Tor building that momentum from the back of the circle.
Well, we're 1 200-metre semi down, 2 to come. Tor there, 20.06. That's not a bad open up at all. He's got a bit of improvement to do yet if he wants to stay amongst the medals, I fancy.
2nd semi-final, the men's 200. You can see the athletes in the outer 4 lanes. They were all given a bye here. Well, that's not... I think one of the athletes, because we've had a late replacement with Jackson Clark, so that graphic not totally right, but Caleb Law of Australia goes here in lane 8. He got a bye thanks to a brilliant 2021 that he ran over at the start of the season. But Jackson Clark of Guyana, he would have thought he missed out on this by 100th, but he's replaced Israel Okun, the Nigerian athlete, not starting here. Muthinkulo of South Africa will go in 6th, new lifetime best of 2011 the other day. Prince Selepe of Botswana in 5, silver at the African Championships, and then 20.01 at the Doha Diamond League. Javon Powell of Jamaica, regular in their 4x4 squad. Joseph Amoa of Ghana will go in lane 3, 9.92 this year. He looked very good winning his heat yesterday. Nganga Gora from Gabon goes in lane 2, African finalist this year. And the final athlete in lane 1, Animesh Kujor of India, their national record holder, 20.32. He won his heat, the Indian did yesterday, in a season's best. So 5 out of the 8 of the athletes here did run yesterday. Got a feel for the track, and then we've got fresh legs with the likes of Caleb Law, Muthinkulu and Selepe. They settle into their blocks. Reminder, it's first 2 across the line automatically. Chris Taylor And Omuzariki running very well in the previous race, down to 20.2 seconds with a strong following wind. Away first time here in the second semi-final. Lots of talented athletes. The one's fastest on paper on the outside here, but it's the Jamaican Javon Powell that's moving well in the middle of the field. Joseph Amoa going with him. Amoa looked very good winning his heat yesterday. He's going to come under pressure here in the last 50 metres. The Guyanan holding strong just to the line. Being credited with 20.24 and a 2.0 following win. That would equal his season's best. And it just looked a little bit a bit casual in the last 10 metres from Joseph Amoa. It was similar yesterday, wasn't it? And they ran a very good 180 and then decided that was probably going to be enough, but Javon Powell didn't give up till the end with only 2 spots available for the final automatically, and the Jamaican was chasing as well. He had to run every inch of the track he had available to him.
Yeah, the Ghana athlete Joseph Amoa, as you rightly said, Hannah, he ran a magnificent bend. And he was just easing down into the end. But just coming through really, really strong was Powell and Salipe. That they were driving all the way to the finish. He just shut down a little bit too early for me. That was a little bit too relaxed as they come off the bend. Amoa just comes into the home straight from lane 3, just ahead of the rest of the field. And at this point, he just starts to step off the gas a little bit. And you can see Salipe and Powell just coming through to his right-hand side, our left, as we look at him.
Well, it was a furious dip to the line from Javon Powell, opposed to Joseph Amoa's slightly chilled. I mean, he's working hard. I don't think he shut it down, but he just didn't dip. And that's a big part of sprinting.
He just cruised through, didn't he?
And I'll tell you what, I can see on the computer system here that Joseph Amoa, the Ghanaian here on the right-hand side of the screen, has been given the win, but by 2 1/1000ths. That will give him a great lane draw when we look towards the final. But it was almost a different story. This has been the fastest race so far in terms of the depth. We saw Prince Salepe and Muthin Kula replace the fastest athletes from the previous heat. They are the 2 time qualifiers at the moment on 20:31 and 20:39. Look at that. I love that from Javon Powell. We've got to look out for him when we go to the final. He's a big part of the Jamaican 4x4 squad, and I think that strength over the longest of the sprints showing at the end of the 200.
He'll be happy he just got away with that one.
Confirmed result of semi-final 2. Joseph Amoa by 2 1/1000ths gets the win from Javon Powell. They're the automatic qualifiers. 1 semi-final left to go.
So, Chukwuebuka and Okwechi steps into the circle. Then round 2, the Nigerian silver medalist back in 2018, 4th 4 years ago in this shot put final. That's a nice second heave. He opened with 19 metres 60. He's capable of so much more. He is a 22-metre thrower. Indeed, he's been in great form, around 21.5 metres in his last half dozen or so shot put competition. So he knows something big is in there. He really is in the competitive groove, so to speak. 5th in the World Championships last year, and that's a nice second heave from Enokwechi. 20 metres 48, puts him up into 3rd place. So semi-final 3 then. Emmanuel Aseme, the winner of the 100 metres 2 nights ago in 9.83. He goes in lane 1. And right on the outside, well, the silver medalist in that 100 metres, the Australian, Lachlan Kennedy, 9.85. He ran for an Australian record. He was 2nd in the world indoors last year, the Australian champion at 100 this year. He will start fast. Can he hold them off? In lane 7 there, inside him, Dumbile of South Africa, 8th in the world championships last year. Aaron Brown goes in 6th for Canada, semi-finalist last year, Canadian champion. There's Mustafa Bokpin from Ghana. Fourth in the NCAA's 200. That's not to be sniffed at. Rashawn Clark of Jamaica goes in lane 4. Third in the Jamaican Championships. Jaleel Kroll of British Virgin Islands won his heat yesterday in 20.53. Very close to his season's best. Zablon Kwam. He was second in the 200 heat yesterday in 20.73. That was yesterday morning, when I think he was entitled to feel a little bit tired and maybe a little bit stiff and sore after the 100 late the previous evening. It was far from ideal having to race before midday yesterday, having won the 100. He was fifth at the World Indoors back in Torun in March. So the gold and silver medalists in the 100 2 nights ago, bookending this field. Esemi of Cameroon, the champion in 1. Kennedy, the silver medalist in the 100, goes on the outside in lane 8. Really tight bend for Esemi to try and negotiate their topper picture in the red in lane 1. He's gone off pretty well though, has Lachlan Kennedy on the outside, also going really well. Inside him is the South African Dambile. Dambile possibly leading into the straight now, but it's going to be really tight. Watch Esemi on the inside there, but look at the way they're pulling away now. Dambile and the Canadian inside him. Brown taking 1 and 2 there. 19.82 and the win just over the legal limit. 2.3. Dambile. Oh, what a shame. What a shame that it was just over that legal limit. Dear oh dear. It was very, very quick indeed. That second semi-final, 20.24. In the second semi-final, we'll have to look at the non-automatic qualifier positions. Dambile 1982, Brown 1990, Kennedy and Esemi. Well, Esemi doesn't go through. He misses out by 1/100th of a second. Kennedy, 2012, will go through, the quickest of the non-automatic qualifiers, along with Prince Selepe of Botswana, who was third in the second semi-final. 2031 he ran. So Esemi unable to go for the double.
Dembele was up on Lachlan Kennedy as they come out of the stagger. But just look on the inside, the Canadian, Aaron Brown, the 34-year-old, just powering through and following Dembele all the way through. Unfortunately, we lost Roshan Clark as well during that race. He pulled up. But Dembele looked superior there, didn't he? Just so relaxed as he comes into the home straight.
Yeah, the South Africans in really good form, and when you think they are Southern Hemisphere athletes like so many of the others, the Aussies and the Kiwis, they've had their own Southern Hemisphere season back in what is obviously the Northern Hemisphere winter, but they are peaking brilliantly, so many of the South Africans and the Australians for these championships. There it is, 19.82 and 9.90, just over the legal limit, the wind at plus 2.3. Lachlan Kennedy goes through with that 20.12. He recovering a little bit better perhaps than Esemi, although he was in lane 8, which is a big advantage with those gentle sweeping bends. Esemi quite the opposite in lane 1 in that third semi-final.
Real shot there, seeing Emmanuel Esemi exit. It was so brilliant in that one.
Hello guys, welcome once again. Let's start with Jamaica's Christopher Taylor. Taylor stepped on the track knowing that the objective wasn't necessarily to run the fastest time of his life. The objective was simple: get to the final, and that is exactly what he did. Taylor won his semi-final in 20.20 seconds, producing a strong opening and maintaining control throughout the race. And that is something important to understand about championship racing. Sometimes, the fastest athletics in a semi-final isn't necessarily the athletic who ran the fastest time. It's about knowing when to push and where and when to save something for the final. Taylor appeared to manage the balance extremely well. He got the job done without looking completely drained, and that could become very important when these athletics return for the medal race, because the final is where there will be no room for saving energy. Every athletics will have to empty the tank, and Taylor has now earned his opportunity. Then came one of the most dramatic moments of the night. Jamaica's Javon Pearl was involved in an incredible tight battle with the Ghana's Joseph Amor. We are talking about a finish so close that the difference was measured in 2,000 of seconds. Think about that. Two thousands are that level. You are not just competing against another athletics, you are competing against the clock, positioning technique, and even the tiniest movement at the finish line. Amon managed to edge Pearl in the battle for the qualification spot. And this is exactly why championship 200 meters racing can be so brutal. You can run an excellent race and still find yourself separated from the athletics ahead of you by almost nothing. For Pearl, that's a painful way to see the semi-final end. But it also demonstrated just how competitive this field has become. There are no guaranteed places, there are no easy races, and nobody can afford to relax before crossing that finish line. But if you thought the first two semifinals were fast, the third semifinal completely changed the conversation. South Africa, Deno, produced one of the most performances of the night, clocking an astonishing 19.82 seconds, sub 20 seconds. In a Commonwealth Games semifinals, that's a serious speed, and he wasn't alone. Canada's Aaron Browns crossed the line in 19.90 seconds. Two athletics under 20 seconds in the same semi-final. At that point, everyone watching had to start thinking, what is going to happen in the final? Because suddenly the standard has been raised dramatically. At a time that it might have been enough to win another race could now leave another athletics fighting simply to make the podium. That's how competitive this final has become. But here is the fascinating part. The semi-final weren't simply about finding out who could run fastest. They were about strategy. Every athletics had to make a difficult calculation. How hard do I push? Do I chase the fastest possible time? Or do I qualify while keeping some energy for the final? That's particularly important in the 200 meters. The race is short, explosive, and incredibly demanding. You can't afford to waste energy early, but you also can't relax too much because one athletics beside you could suddenly produce a huge finish. So every runner had to find the perfect balance, push enough to qualify, control the race, stay relaxed, and save whatever is left for the final. That's why Christopher Taylor's performance is so interesting. A winning time of 20.20 doesn't necessarily tell the whole story. He accomplished what he needed to accomplish. Now comes the really test. And this is where things become really exciting. The semifinals are over. There are no more calculations, no more saving energy, no more thinking about tomorrow. This is the moment when every athletics has to go all in. And with the athletics already producing time like 19.82 and 19.90, the gold medal could come down to the smallest details: the start, the bend, the transition onto the stretch, the relaxation of the shoulder, the final 30 meters. And most importantly, who can handle the pressure? because the 200 meters isn't won simply by having speed. You need execution, you need discipline, you need confidence. And when everyone around you is capable of running world-class times, even the smallest technique mistake can change the entire result. One athletics might get a slight better start, another might run the bend more efficiently, someone else might have the strongest final 50 meters. That's what makes the final so unpredictable. For Jamaica, all eyes will now be on Christopher Taylor. Jamaica has built a legendary reputation in sprinting, and whenever a Jamaican steps onto a major championship track, expectations are naturally high. But Taylor cannot afford to raise their reputation. He has to raise the athletics beside him. And judging from this semi-final, those athletics are coming with the serious firepower. Deno has already shown that he can go under 20 seconds. Aaron Brown has done the same, and athletics who qualified through the other semi-finals will also believe they have a chance. So Taylor's challenge is clear: get the start right, attack the bend, stay relaxed, and then unleash everything in the final stretch. Because if he can put all those pieces together, Jamaica could once again find itself battling for a major championship medal. The 2026 Commonwealth Games men's 200 meters final is now shaping up to a race you absolutely don't want to miss. We have already seen a Jamaica win a semi-final. We have seen a Jamaican narrow miss out in an incredible close finish. And we have seen South Africa athletics explode onto the scene with the 19.82 seconds. We have seen Canada's Aaron Brown respond with the 19.90 seconds. And now, all of that speed, strategy, and pressure is going to collide in one final race. The question isn't just who is the fastest. The real question is who can execute perfectly when it matters most. Because in race this competitive, the difference between gold and fourth place could be measured in hundreds or even thousands of seconds. So now I want to hear from you guys. Who do you think will win the men's 200 meters final? Can Christopher Taylor brings home the gold for Jamaica? Can Deno continues his incredible form after that 19.82 seconds? Or could Aaron Brown or another finalist shock everyone? Drop your prediction in the comment. And if you are enjoying these Commonwealth Games, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the final. One race, one opportunity, no room for mistakes. The men's 200 meters final is coming. And this could be absolutely explosive.